you ISIS people threatening us? Hey, we're not a French newspaper, okay? We got people that have taken your asses out in this building right now. We're armed to the teeth, and we're not scared. You got that, you sons of bitches? This is Texas. You want to threaten me, you can go straight to hell. You understand that?
Never water yourself down just because someone can't handle you at 100 proof. It's the Alex Jones Show, because there's a war on for your mind.
Another threat that President Obama mentioned was ISIS. Well, who on earth armed them? Who helped to arm the Syrians that were fighting against Assad? Who created the necessary political climate that facilitated this situation? Who pushed for the delivery of arms to the area? Do you really not understand as to who is fighting in Syria?
In the wake of the terror in Paris, President Obama is blatantly disregarding the very real concerns of the American people. Rather than review the policy to bring in 10,000 Syrian refugees after the horror the world witnessed just 5 days ago, Obama clutches like a madman to his power and stays the course on the Bilderberg-fueled globalist demand that he oust President Bashar al-Assad from Syria. Rather than do whatever it takes to protect the United States, Obama is leaving the gates wide open as he shuns the overwhelming concerns of Americans and aids an invading force to quietly enter the United States. People are flooding social media to encourage Americans to call their congressional representatives to stop the resettlement of Middle Eastern migrants after government officials and contractors admitted the migrants cannot be tracked or vetted properly. Nearly 80% of states receiving the most migrants have GOP upper house majorities. Of the 19 states that took in the most refugees per capita in 2013 and 2014, 15 have upper house legislatures dominated by Republicans. In comparison, only 3 of the 19 states are Democratic. The FBI has already admitted the U.S. can't vet all the migrants for terror ties. In the words of Albert Pike, Satanist, Ku Klux Klan founder, and revered prophet of the New World Order, in the Third World War, we shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. Then everywhere the citizens, obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries, will exterminate those destroyers of civilization, and the multitude, disillusioned with Christianity, whose deistic spirits will from that moment be without compass or direction, anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view. This manifestation will result from the general reactionary movement, which will follow the destruction of Christianity and atheism, both conquered and exterminated at the same time. Upon those ashes, the New World Order of Albert Pike, David Rockefeller, George Soros, the Bilderberg Group, the royalty of Europe, the great work of the higher Masonic orders.
They really are issues of the construction of a New World Order.
Will finally be established. But there is always hope. Perhaps the mechanization of order out of chaos is beginning to cave in upon itself. Known for being the real culprits for the chemical attacks on Syrian civilians, al-Nusra, simply a faction of al-Qaeda at war with the Syrian government, launched rocket strikes on the Russian embassy in Damascus. The rockets were likely those supplied by U.S. forces a year ago to the decimated numbers of moderate rebels. Al-Nusra chief Abu Muhammad al-Jilani had just called for attacks on Russian civilians and soldiers. He declared, "If the Russian army kills the people of Syria, then kill their people. And if they kill our soldiers, then kill their soldiers. An eye for an eye," Jilani said in an audio recording released just before the attacks. The detonation of shells at the Russian embassy interrupted a demonstration of supporters for Putin and Assad. No injuries were reported. In the previous 24 hours, the Russian Air Force had made 88 sorties, hitting 86 Islamic State targets. In response, Jelani called on the heroic Mujahideen in the Caucasus to attack Russians. He also offered a bounty for whoever kills Bashar al-Assad and ends his story, even if he is of his own people and family. In addition, he offered a reward for the assassination of Hassan Nasrallah, the leader of Hezbollah in Lebanon. While Russia bombs the anti-Assad forces, Washington continues to fabricate the existence of a moderate rebel army, even brandishing the illusion of rebels with an airdrop of weapons and Toyota trucks. According to Public Radio International, when the U.S. State Department resumed sending non-lethal aid to Syrian rebels, the delivery list included 43 Toyota trucks. Hiluxes were on the Free Syrian Army's wish list. Ubay Shabander, a Washington-based advisor to the Syrian National Coalition, is a fan of the truck. Specific equipment like the Toyota Hiluxes are what we refer to as force enablers for the moderate opposition forces on the ground, he added. Shabander said the U.S. supplied pickups would be delivering troops and supplies into battle. Some of the fleet will even become battlefield weapons. Meanwhile, the regional chaos festers as Israel continues to attack Syrian targets in the Golan. In response to the rocket fire, IDF artillery targeted 2 military posts of the Syrian armed forces in the central Syrian Golan Heights, an Israeli army statement said on Tuesday. Now, the reckless Obama administration has approved arming the Kurdish YPG militia, a group that is engaged in ethnic cleansing in Syria, forcing thousands of Syrian civilians from their homes.
America leads. We're the indispensable nation. Mr. Putin seems to be challenging that leadership.
In what way?
What a tangled web President Obama weaves as he is smack dab in the middle of a proxy regional war that could escalate at any moment as our supposed enemy ISIS utilizes and leaves a trail of evidence of treasonous U.S. battle supplies in the wake of Putin's unyielding assault on anti-Assad forces.
It's no wonder that Obama needs a fiction writer as the White House National Security Advisor, because I imagine it'd be pretty difficult to explain to the public or to convince the public that it's a good idea to arm al-Qaeda terrorists in Syria. That, my friends, that's a tough sell.
I'm Joe Biggs with Infowars.com here at the last day of our reporting in El Paso, Texas. So far, we've shown you time and time again that our borders are being left unsecure intentionally by the Obama administration. They're not using the funds that they say they are. You know, we have Feinstein, we have Harry Reid. They're all saying that the border is secure.
The border is secure.
And the Department of Homeland Security is preparing for as many as 90,000 such children to arrive in the country by the end of this year. The numbers are so great and so unprecedented that our federal agencies, understandably, are having difficulty carrying out the procedures and timelines in place. And I just want to take a moment to thank all our people, whether it's Border Patrol, ICE, or anybody else, or Homeland Security, for the excellent job they are doing.
And we continue to come down here and bring you videos, give you proof that our borders are left wide open. And we showed you a video last night that other than Mexicans out of 75 different countries are able to come in here and move freely throughout our country. So what makes you think that ISIS couldn't do the same? We fund them, we give them the money.
I think it's going to turn out maybe this weekend in a new special that Brett Baer is going to have Friday that's going to show some of those weapons from Benghazi ended up in the hands of ISIS. So we helped build ISIS. Now, there's a danger there.
They're supposedly down here in Juarez right now. There's an imminent attack threat that's going on in the area. People are taking it seriously. So what I want to do is kind of say, screw you to ISIS. You're not going to come in our country. You're not going to threaten me. You're not going to make me feel like I can't move freely about in my own home. I don't like the threats. I don't like the beheadings. And if you come around here, patriots, militias, info warriors alike, we will stand up, we will rise up against you guys. You're a bunch of cowards. I saw a video of you yesterday where you guys were whimpering and crying right before you got shot after you were caught. ISIS, come on. You guys are a joke. But this is the worst looking flag ever. Like, what is that? Scribble? What does that say? You guys probably can't even read it because half of you aren't even from Iraq or Afghanistan or anything like that. You guys just wave this flag around, not even know what the hell it means. You haven't done anything for it. So this is what I say to your flag. ISIS, go back home. You come to America, we're gonna beat you down. You guys are a joke.
When they used the radical Islamists with Saudi Arabian funding in 1979 under Zbigniew Brzezinski's plan to launch wars, not just in Afghanistan, but areas bordering Afghanistan to the north and to the west, forcing the Russians to come in to respond. That was a trap. So they didn't totally control the jihadis. They were funding them, they were arming them, and then later they were supposedly blowback on 9/11. But the door was opened, and Saudi Arabia was there running the operation, the 28 pages. Senator Graham of the 9/11 Commission has gone public. And I've talked to Walter Jones, a congressman. He's gone public. And Colonel Schaefer and everybody else. Okay, so I was right again, period. So, I'm going to explain this to you. It isn't just black or white where it's either 100% run or it is 100% run. 4.5 years ago, a program was launched in Libya, in Syria, and Egypt, and a bunch of other places to overthrow the governments and put radicals in. Obama and other Soros-connected groups, even above the CIA, they do this even outside government. This stuff's so criminal. Went in, and with Google Analytics and with Facebook behind it, they all met the same place Bilderberg met a few years ago. They met there a few years before that. They're north of London. This has all been publicly released and funded the Arab Spring, where they get the students and everybody out the street. But then the radicals use that once they take over to coup d'etat the coup. And then now you have an Islamic State over Libya, over Saudi Arabia, which is already quarterbacking it, over Syria, over Egypt. So, there's Wesley Clark. We have it on screen. Libya and Syria, the neocon plan to attack 7 countries in 5 years using destabilization. Once you destabilize, you then have an excuse to come in and bomb the very groups you turned loose to begin with. So, Obama is acting like he's a moderate and that he's only fighting, you know, some of the radicals because, you know, he loves Islam so much. The truth is, they're doing limited airstrikes on different disparate rebel groups that are in there battling for control of Syria that the West opened the door for to get them buggy whipped into line so that then they can be forged into a new army to go in and take out Syria. And the excuse will be because of the Syrian civil war that gave ISIS a home base, that gave al-Qaeda a home base. And so now we've got to go in and clean out the whole country. It's Assad's fault. We've already heard this. You're going to hear it again. That's why they're saying, oh, we're there with rebels now, calling in airstrikes and giving them weapons with billions of dollars of funding that Congress has passed in 3 different spending packages the last 4 or 5 months. Billions of dollars. And it's in the Wall Street Journal that, well, the good rebels are being given vehicles, and they're allowed to launch attacks. And then you'll see these very vehicles in a month flying ISIS flags, and no one will go, wait a minute, we gave them that. Or they might say, oh, yeah, ISIS captured it. Just like they captured Iraqi bases full of artillery and new weapons and RPGs, like the Marines and the Army just left those weapons caches in bases and didn't defend them or didn't have self-destruct bombs, didn't have detonators already placed to blow up ammo dumps.